I'd like to call the meeting to order. Almighty God, you have blessed us with memory, reason, and skill. Help us to use them wisely in the service of our town government. We ask this in thy holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Salute the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for coming. Under public forum. Glenn?
Yeah, the only thing I want to ask the board is, my annual training is March 5th through the 8th. I need that every year to keep my credentials up. So I'm asking the board for your permission to go. It's in
Okay.
Lake Placid.
Something we've done every year without fail, I believe.
Yeah.
I would entertain a motion to approve that, if that's the desire of the
I'll
board.
make the motion. And I'll second that.
Thank you. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried. What are the exact dates, do you know, Mick?
March 5th through the 8th,
Oh, March, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh,
the first week in March.
And there's no dollar limit on that, is there?
No, I think I got casino night there the second night.
So if you
Okay.
win enough, you can pay for your own trip, right?
Yeah.
I would like a motion to approve the January 9th town board minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of January 9th.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any questions on the minutes of January 9th? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. We have our town clerk's monthly report. I would like to have that approved if possible.
I make a motion that we approve the town clerk's report, January 1st through January 31st.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any questions or concerns about the town clerk's monthly report? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's also carried. The next thing is your JCO monthly report. The number of people that they've served in the township.
I have a question on that.
Yes?
What is the average number of rides that are usually provided?
I could not truthfully tell you that.
Okay.
I do not know. I can try to find that out for you. I know a couple guys that do that for, I believe they volunteer their time and they get paid just a very low mileage
Right.
rate. Not anywhere near the internal revenue rate. I'll ask that question though for you.
Okay, I'm just curious. Thank you.
This is strictly for information.
Yep.
This is the organization that it's right in the village,
Yeah.
this building.
Yes.
They do a lot of good
They
things there.
did.
Yes, they did.
A lot of people get a lot of food out of there.
You can go there for advice too, so there's more than just food there, you know. They handle many, many things. We have a letter from New York State Electric and Gas that they must furnish us a list of emergency contract numbers for gas emergencies as well as electrical. This is something, we do this we just accept it every year. You don't have to vote to accept it. It's just informational from the, okay? And we also have one from the North Country Gas Pipeline for contract numbers for leaks or any problems with, anybody has any problems with the natural gas line. Okay? This one here is from New York State Department of Transportation. They're soliciting candidates for projects for funding under the New York State Bridge Program. I will tell you right now, Alan has looked into one, I believe it's on the Cardan Road. He's working through the county on that. Hopefully we'll get some funding, so that's something we can tackle this coming summer. I have not been up there, but I understand it's a bridge and badly needed repair, let's put it that way.
Okay.
Car down road bridge.
Yes. Okay. This one was a little confusing. I believe I've heard of this one before a few months ago, but I think we got it again. The County of Dutchess, county executive sent us something. I read it through today, think differently. I don't know if you had a chance to read it.
I have.
If you read it through, Rick, maybe you can enlighten us with this. It's for autistic kids and
Correct. What it's doing is it's trying to
enlighten us.
recognize those individuals that actually have disabilities, whether it be autism or those that in fact have special needs,
Yes,
and trying to make those individuals recognized and be worthwhile members of the community.
and they are.
And they are, without question. And as you can see here, they kind of, and again, I haven't had time to kind of research the background, whether or not their statistic is accurate, but they do indicate here that, that there's a sizable number of people that
Yes.
fall into this category.
I noticed, if I remember correctly, this gentleman has a child
Yes.
that has this, no.
Is that a resolution they're asking you to pass in support of this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the village did that last night.
Okay.
The same thing.
Is this,
I see absolutely no reason not to.
okay,
There is no financial obligation on our part.
I have a question about this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Maybe you can, you know where I'm going with this. By passing this, does any burden of responsibility fall upon, in this case, the town, for recognizing that there are people with these disabilities? Or does the burden of responsibility reside with the person who has the disability to make that known? And the reason I'm bringing this up is because of an incident that I personally was involved in, and Mike Pager also, where a person had a comfort animal, and the disability really was never made that apparent.
No, this has nothing to do with that.
Huh?
This has nothing to do with that.
Nothing.
No.
I don't believe so.
This is just, basically what I got out of it last night is I think it's Dutchess County it came
Yes,
from.
yes.
They want you to be aware that there's these, people with disabilities out there, and you need to recognize them, and if you can, accommodate them if you can.
Correct.
But it's more of an informational thing, but it's a resolution of support more than anything else.
That's all it
There-
is.
There's no money being asked for, you're not
No financial
liable for anything.
Correct. There's no increase in need of accessibility or
So there's
anything
no
like that.
link between this and Law's American Disability Act?
Well, there's already laws on the books as far as handicap accessible to public buildings and stuff.
Right.
If I'm correct, okay?
No,
And,
this
we
is
are-
just-
No, that's apparent, we know that.
yeah, we are handicap accessible here,
Right.
okay?
Yeah.
So, personally, something I would support is the support of the board for this.
Yeah, and that's what basically, that's what it says. It's an important statement that business owners and city officials and residents can make to show their support for differently able children and adults with special needs in their families. It's just to show support.
Correct. And I think it's something I'd recommend that we maybe look to even bring to the attention of all of the people that we represent by maybe having it put on the town of Champlain's website.
Okay.
So,
Anytime you apply for grants, you have to sign a paper saying that you support Americans with disabilities and all that, so this will go a long way towards that end.
Okay.
Maybe I'm gun shy because of that, in one situation.
It says here that 19%
Still
of
doesn't make
Americans
sense.
have some type of disability or special needs.
and that's why I haven't researched that number. I don't know if it's accurate,
I
but,
don't know.
so,
Well, there's a lot of people walking that seem quite normal that probably have some special needs that we're not aware of,
very true.
okay?
So, but it seems like a very worthwhile program to me.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
And I'll second that.
Thank you. Any questions? Those in favor?
All right.
Opposed? That's also carried. This next one was the Department of the Army. It's pertaining to our application for the West Service Road sewer. I did call Bernie and Carr on this one. They will take care of that. That's strictly for information also. Okay. Did that one already. The Champlain EMS sent us a letter readjusting their rates. Some actually went down, if you noticed. already had a contract with them. This is just informational as far as their rates goes. They were charging $1,000 for a certain transportation rate, and they reduced it to 500. Did you read that?
Yes.
Okay. I was at the EMS dinner a week or two ago. I'd say close to 100 people there, and they recognized a whole lot of people. They made, if I'm correct, over 1,200 calls last year between Rouse's Point, Champlain, and Moores. Okay. And they gave us a response time, they gave awards out for several people that answered over 200 calls. So, the EMS seems to be working well for the town of Champlain, Moores, and Rouse's Point.
Could you pass over the one on having to do with these salt?
Yeah, the Division of Mineral Resources.
Yeah, I know.
The old sand pit, the old
Correct.
sand pit.
This is the old sand pit?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yep.
yes,
All right, that's why it's not operational.
no, it's not,
All right.
Brian, excuse me, I
Is this
believe
the
it's
old?
the Pepper Hill Road one, new
Yeah,
one.
Yeah, Pepper Hill and Moore's.
okay,
Yes,
but it, all right, so it said non-operational, that's what got.
well, it was non-operational at the time, the inspection, I believe, okay? They opened up approximately 2 acres of the 10 acres, it's roughly 10 acres, I believe.
Mhm.
It was not operating at the time of the inspection. Alan said they had absolutely no problems up there. The old sand pit, we seeded down most of it, we seeded down all of it. A portion did not take last fall, so we have to reseed a very small area, and we intend to sell that property off if possible. But we cannot sell it until the DEC approves our closure of it, and it was closed properly. And it was closed properly as far as the slope of the walls, the outer walls of the pit. You gotta be at a certain angle, that was all done, I was up there when they were doing some of that. But the seeding must take place before they'll, has to be a turf, or what do you wanna call it, a new seed bed.
Right.
So we're into more restoration.
More restoration. Alan wasn't concerned that it would take much to do this. It's a very small area, he told me.
Mhm.
Okay, so he certainly by spring he'll be doing that. We hope to get this approved. I would hope to get the property sold by the end of the year. Okay. We did have it appraised. The appraisal came in very, very close to the assessed value Town of Morris has on it, okay? That's also just for information. This North Country Flight is the helicopter service. Normally, we contribute $200 a year. They sent us another form for this year, 2008. It is in the budget. We do budget for this. If it's the will of the board, I would like to see it renewed. I don't know that we've used it much, but it's there available to us if we need it. Okay?
I'll make a motion to contract for $200 for North Country Life Flight.
Okay, thank you.
And I will second that.
Any questions on that? For $200. Thank you. All in favor? Opposed? That's also carried. The Champlain Fire District Board of Commissioners, Fire Commissioners, we need to, they have difficulty locating the fire hydrants during the winter months because of snow, or possible snow. So they're requesting to have locators installed in each for a better view of the locations. Now, I understand that, Mickey, you might know more about it than I would. It's just like a pole with a flag or something on it?
Yeah,
Am I correct?
I mean, you can buy these things from companies that make markers that, I
Yes.
mean, they're a little on the pricey side. The ones I've seen that the village has, the ones that we had, all they are is a piece of bent rebar with a little square thing welded on it, painted red. It's just to stick up above the snow so they can find the hydrants.
Yes, I understand that, well, I was talking to the mayor maybe 2-3 weeks ago, and they had a source of them, he thought it was around $10-12 a piece.
I was down there,
And it is part of the project,
Oh, it is.
yes.
And how many total hydrants is
I
that?
think there's 60.
63.
60.
63?
Yes.
I talked with Woody Kessel, the guy that sent the letter,
Yes,
And he even took me online and showed the ones you could buy, they're
Yes.
about $25 a piece,
how much?
or 25 from what he saw.
25, okay.
And there were different types, different models, and I pushed it a little bit further. I said, how many do you actually have to have? Because some of these hydrants are so off the beaten path, they're never going to be used for fire protection. One example would be the top of Prospect Hill, it's one way up there next to the road. There's nothing up there but rocks and trees, so. But he told me about 40 of them that have to be marked. And then the question is, who's going to go out and put them up? I have an idea, but we'll get to that a little bit later.
Oh, it would be good if we had them when they were doing the hydrant extensions, we could get some of them done.
That's my idea,
Yeah.
Usually they're done in the fall when they flush the hydrants in the fall cycle. You grease the hydrants, you flush them out, then you put these markers on them for the winter.
Okay.
And then in the spring, when they flush them, they take them off.
What's this, like a few minutes per hydrant?
You wouldn't leave them on year round?
Well, you could, but usually you take them off in the spring. I don't know why they take them off in the spring, but they always did.
Okay.
So they don't get damaged or whatever.
Okay, well, is this a few minutes free? It's not an hour, 2-hour job, but,
Not to put them on, no.
That's what I'm talking
Flush the hydrants is about a half hour per hydrant.
so you can do that while you're flushing the hydrants?
No, you gotta do it when you close the hydrant because it goes on the cap.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I have no objections, I think we need to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know that we need board approval, it's part of the project, it should be done.
Right.
We are gonna
Is-
have,
I guess my question, sorry, Brian, my question would be, is there any way to kind of maybe consult with some of the local municipalities and see if they're also interested in doing this, and if we could acquire them at a lower cost?
You can make them like Mike suggested. I saw several examples down there. There's like a piece of re-rod,
Right.
curve on it, with a stick of reflector on the top, just paint the thing red.
I'm just
Do
thinking
Russ's Point
$25
mark
a
their
piece.
hydrants?
yeah, but that's, but
I think they do, but I'm not 100%
No,
sure.
it doesn't.
the thing that.
Well, they shovel their hydrants, so they can see
Do
it.
they?
I notice they're shoveling their electric boxes now.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
So we need at some point to discuss who's gonna be shoveling the hydrants out.
Good
We need
question.
to talk,
that's,
Okay.
Not right now, it's not gonna snow anymore.
I'm with you on that one, but,
Fire trucks, seriously, carry shovels and stuff with them if they had to?
I wanna say yes, but I don't know.
Understand.
We buy enough equipment for the fire department, they ought to be gold-plated shovels, but I don't know if there's shovels on the fire trucks, to tell you the truth.
Okay. But obviously, it's a safety issue,
sure.
okay? Even if they had to take 2 minutes to hook up or something longer than they could have or should have, it's a safety issue to keep them visible, okay? Okay. We'll be looking into that, and hopefully we can buy markers. The next thing we got is from the New York State Unified Court System. We've been awarded a grant. John Triller, one of our justices, applied for a grant for $22,799, and it was awarded. I believe they're out there now looking for bids and contract prices, and this is going forward. We did approve several months ago for him to apply for this, so it's strictly informational only. Okay. The next letter from Stafford and Owens is strictly pertaining to the new hourly rate of $195 an hour. The New York's, Champlain Moore's Joint Swim Agreement. We have a youth program, a swim program which involves both villages, the town of Champlain and the town of Moores. This is the agreement that we sign this every year. It's a very useful, worthwhile project for our students to learn how to swim.
Can I ask how many employees there are? I noticed that they're actually covered under employees of the town of Champlain, so how many total employees is that?
Well,
Youth program, right?
Right.
yes,
yes,
it's mostly lifeguards.
Yes.
So are we talking 3 to 5 employees, and they're all part-time?
Yes.
they're all
Okay.
part-time,
Okay.
they have to be certified in
WSI.
CPR and
Yeah.
Now, do we pay for their certifications also?
I don't
I
believe so.
believe so, no.
We, the town, they use a high school bus, one of the Northeastern buses, I believe. and they come here to gas up, fuel up, I should say, not gas, diesel fuel. Okay? So, it's worked well in the past, I have no complaints on it. I would see no reason why we would not want to do it, let's put it that way, it's my opinion.
You need a resolution authorizing you to sign the agreement.
Yes, I would like a motion. Go ahead.
I'll make the motion that we continue with the joint swim program for the Youth Commission.
I'll second
Okay.
that.
Any questions?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Julie? In the morning, can you, notarize that? Okay, thank you. Well, Association of Towns. They got a booth set up at the winter training down in New York City. How the villages, towns can get together and get cheaper electric rates. We get so many of these calls, just have us sign up for, like NICEC Solutions and all those, Agway had one. You know, they're actually, to me, they're confusing.
If you don't mind, I'd like to just call them and find out. I know they are confusing in that, but this is through the New York Conference of Mayor and
Yes.
Association of Towns.
Yes.
I mean, I can actually probably talk to the Association of Town lawyer, you know, and get some legal advice.
Mike, do you know anything about this, how it differs from the one they hold at Potsdam every year?
Oh, the Potsdam is, I believe you're talking, the one-day training up in Potsdam, you guys have?
Oh, yeah, it's local government training in Potsdam.
I'm sorry.
Association of Towns, that's, you go to New York City and
Yeah, because there was some interesting, you know, benefits here. One, in terms of covering like wastewater treatment plants and things.
Yes.
So I'd like to see what it can do from a municipal standpoint, but also for our residents. So, yeah, Brian, if you don't mind calling, I'd like to
Yeah.
gather more information also.
I do not believe this is for residential, I believe it's for town governments, village governments.
Well, he might be right, I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
I'm not sure
It
either.
That's
allows
right.
New York municipalities and even their residents to
Right.
save money on energy costs. So there's a possibility.
Okay,
But it doesn't hurt to ask.
doesn't cost a penny.
Right,
A lot of the programs we've dealt with are private companies,
Yes,
and they want you to spend 20 grand to save 10.
correct,
pyramid companies.
correct.
This is just the lowering of your electric rate.
What's the name of the company that's,
It's called NIMEP. It's New York Municipal Energy Program, but to me, I almost wondering if there's a double-edged sword here, and part of that is, one, that they've got an annual meeting, but they also have a training school. So some of the criteria might be that you have to attend a training school. So what has to be invested to kind of, and so I guess that's where we've got to get.
Well, that's what I'll find out.
Right.
That- I mean, it may be a pie in the sky scheme. The only thing that makes me interested in it is because it's between the Association of Towns and Conference of Mayors
Right.
are involved with it. You know, we belong to the Association of Towns, so we obviously believe in it.
Mhm.
And the Conference of Mayors of two villages, so,
they're a very helpful organization, let's put it that way,
right, and so
very much so.
those would be people just,
We call there anytime, get information, no cost. Would be annual fee, dues fees.
I know the village just signed up with something similar to this through a municipal thing, because they talked about it last night, and actually their next billing cycle, but theirs was consolidated something or other. And it sounds like it's very similar to this.
there's
Is
probably,
this where they qualify for reduction in rates to do certain things?
No, they changed their energy, the carrier or the supplier, one or the other, you know how those things
Right.
work. But this is through a municipal government, according to what the mayor was talking about last night.
So it's different in this NYSERDA program?
Yes.
Okay.
The last thing in your packet, on the back page, is Julie signed the document that was handed out to us tonight, Fabro.
and I do want to mention that he did call me before he sent it. I know Larry
Yes.
mentioned it briefly, that he did call me to tell me it was coming. So he just wanted, he actually said he'd come down from Ottawa to talk to us, but I said, there'd be no point because there's no way we're gonna look through that tonight and give them.
Even if we did, we don't change this.
Well, from what I've been able to read, we can't change it anyway.
No.
So, and I explained that to him, you know, that we can't overturn
Correct.
their decisions, but he felt that it would be in our best interest to know what's going on and maybe talk to the zoning board members or the planning board, or, I'm just saying that, and I said,
I wanna be at that meeting.
yeah, I said that there's nothing, you know, that I'm
So
aware
this came from
of.
the planning board,
No,
No,
the zoning board of appeals. Right. Oh, it's directed towards them, his complaint towards them.
if part of his complaint is directed also to the
To
planning
the
board,
planning
because he
board,
said they
to the-
didn't do their job and the zoning board,
correct.
it gets very confusing, and then there were some things that ended up being changed. You know, they had to move it, I think they have to move it out of that supposed right
Well,
away.
during the process of going through the planning or the zoning board, yeah, there was some things that were discovered that had to be modified in the application, but at the end, the application was approved. He filed an Article 78, which went to the county for their adjudication. They denied his motion, so his next avenue is through the appellate division in Albany.
Right.
And he has to either file it through an attorney or by himself, however he chooses to do it. But the local board, the zoning board, has no involvement in this at all.
On the appeals, yeah,
I mean, he can come and talk to you all he wants, but
well, I
wasting his time.
I explained that to him, and, you know, but I said, definitely don't come down to, you know, from Ottawa the day after we receive this, or the day we receive it. I said, it's pointless, because no one's gonna be able to understand. This is just for, you know, openness sake, that he knew me, and so he did call me and say he was gonna send that. And I said, you know, you're entitled to send anything you want, and the board will receive it, but, you know, I was looking at the Association of Towns handbook on town councilmen, and looking under zoning board, and it said, town cannot overturn it, and I read that specifically to him, that we cannot fire or any of these.
You could have asked me, that's what you pay me for.
Well, I had it right there in front of me, and he called me at home, but just so you know, and he did call to try and ask me to do something. I said, I really don't think that there is anything we can do, but you can send anything you want to the town board, and, you know, you're entitled to that, and we'll see where it goes from there. I think he's actually, my guess is he's trying to avoid the appellate appeal, you know, is to do this in an expensive way, but just so you know that he did mention it, and Larry did mention it. I told Larry about it, so that he was aware of it.
I like handling the things that I can do something about. I don't like handling things I can't do nothing about. Okay. Julie, you have any town clerk report other than Bill's?
No.
We've got several things here that came late, so to speak. This amendment, engineering agreement number 9. We tabled this a couple months ago. We didn't have enough information, we thought. I think Brian was with me when I talked to Anthony on this. This entails some of the engineering that we need yet to do for the clerk of the works, Eddie Adams, when he has to come back this spring. We figure about a week to, when we have to do the installations of the, across the road, the West Service Road and some of the whole parts. We think he'll be here as much as a week. So, and this is from past stuff they've done this fall.
This is for the water line?
Yes,
Why does Eddie Adams have to come back to inspect this? Because now this is a negotiated settlement. This is our money to finish the project now?
yes.
Why are we gonna pay an inspector $90 an hour?
Well, we have to pay them before making.
Yeah, but it was under the EFC. Now the bonding company is giving us the money.
Well, no, we can take the expense of this out of our settlement. It's part of the settlement, we need to finish the project.
I understand that, but I don't understand why we need an inspector there at the rates that they charge.
What is he gonna come back and inspect?
Well, they told me he needs to be there
To do what?
To the water treatment plant.
What are they gonna verify? Burning your car is not on the hook for anything here.
Well,
I think it had something to do with the water plant. You had to be back in the area anyway to double check some stuff at the water
Okay.
plant. That was my understanding. I'm not saying I got it right. And
I'm just saying, we've paid enough on this project that we're bled to death.
I can't disagree with you. But we need to finish the project, okay? And who's qualified, for instance, I think the biggest installation is cutting the road on West Everett Road. That would take a day or 2, 3 days, I don't know how long it would take. Who is qualified to okay that it's installed right? Here, without their,
Is that why he's coming back?
that is one of the reasons it's coming back. We have 4 or 5 hookups that need to be done. Am I correct?
Yeah, I would say there's 4 or 5 that have to be done,
Okay,
of digging and boring or whatever.
I'm inclined to listen to what Mike is suggesting, and that is that if this guy is gonna come back over, we need to know what he's coming over here to do and what we're gonna be billed for.
I mean, it's my understanding, we're hiring our own contractor now, so we have to go out to bid, or, I mean, we're not gonna be submitting bills to the EFC for this work, are we? Is this coming out of the settlement money?
oh, no. That is how much money we have left at EFC, the settlement.
The settlement is how much money is left in the project
Yes,
to finish everything,
yes.
and that includes,
Right now, no, this is for the water now, the
Right.
pipes in the ground, so to speak, it's not including the water plant. The water plant, we just found out
that's a separate contract.
that there's a surplus in that, okay? A considerable surplus, from my understanding, I got that earlier in the week, last week, okay? There's $600 and some thousand left in the contract that Cassell had with us to put the pipe in the ground. He's entitled, according to the bonding company, over $200,000 of that, but he has to pay, out of his money, he has to pay all the liens.
Okay, so there's 400,000 left
After
in
he's
the
paid, the
project,
liens are paid, there's $420,000, okay?
plus whatever we get from the bonding company for settled.
No.
No, that is the
So
settlement.
that is a
It is a
settlement, I
settlement.
believe.
We're selling for $420,000. We're figuring it's gonna cost us $150 maybe to do the pipe across the West Service Road, hook up there, Derringer's gotta be hooked up, B-Line's gotta be hooked up,
diesel.
one on Route 11. In fact, there's 2 on Route 11. USA bound, I think the pipe is to the building, but not in the building.
Right.
And one somewhere across the street there, there's another one there. The gentleman at Real,
Oh, yeah.
okay? And I think there's one other,
There's one by the river Parkers, gotta finish digging
Yes.
that to the house.
okay? So we're hopeful, from what I'm reading, is over $300,000 to do restorations. Okay?
Not enough money.
But
I don't think you're gonna have enough money.
Well, we're gonna
take
have to
as far as we
prioritize, again, we're gonna have to prioritize it. I think we talked about the hookups are the priority.
Right.
They're revenue producing and they need to be done. And then you might have other things, the fire hydrants, where you wanna put those in order, the extensions.
he has 30-some extensions. I have a list of them somewhere.
Good.
That he is supposed to return to us within 5 or 10 days or something after the settlement.
Could we
The
come back
bonding company told us that now.
and talk about why Ed's gotta come back over here again?
Yes.
Why?
One of the main reasons is that installation of the pipe in the ground at the West Service Road.
The town is going out and
He's
seeking,
looking out for our interest and make sure the contractor, whoever it happens to be, puts that pipe in the ground properly, the proper depth installation.
is that something you need an inspector of
I
$90
think
an
that
hour
the
to do?
EFC require, because Bernier and Carr sent in the permits to New York State.
So EFC is gonna lead on this?
Yeah, I mean, New York State basically is saying, these are the engineers
Right.
They're supervising the installation, so for the cross, go across
So,
from
look, I'm sorry, I
11.
thought I had another job for you. I thought maybe you could be the supervisor, but $90 an hour, would you take it, Mike?
Well,
I don't think you,
we can move your meeting along because I'm gonna argue about this for a while yet, but.
Just for information only, the bids are out for the West Service Road Sewer Project. They're due in here, I believe it's next Thursday, a week from this Thursday.
February 22nd.
We get a set of drawings for that project yet?
Yes,
We do?
yes,
I
just
just
got it
It was
3 or 4 days
emailed.
ago. I'll give it to you, I got a big packet. And I talked to Anthony today, he wanted to remind me about the opening of the bids, I believe it's 10:30 in the
February
morning.
22nd.
Any board member is more than welcome to come to those.
22nd.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
Okay, so that's strictly for information. But let's get back to amendment number 9. I do feel, and I think Brian was on that call with me, that we need to approve that. We just can't keep stalling here.
No, we don't have a choice. They're the engineering firm, they did incur costs.
So,
And even if they're,
so the point then.
yeah, well, they're high, no argument about it. But, I mean, look at the lawyers, they just raised their,
And I'll guarantee you, as soon as this goes on television, they're watching our meetings. They told me that. Okay?
I mean,
Okay.
no. I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
That they have.
Do I have a second?
I guess with understanding that we do not have somebody here within the town that can inspect it and sign off that it is actually acceptable by the EFC, then I would second this.
Thank you.
Brian's
It's also
motion.
by New York State,
Correct.
because they're the ones who gave,
Sounds like our hands are tied.
they gave Bernier and Carr permission to cut the road,
Right.
you know.
Very seldom. In fact, I talked to a guy named Will a year or two ago.
Yeah,
You know what I'm talking about?
yeah.
Yeah.
He's the right-of-way man, is that, am I correct, Alan? Is that the right?
He's out of one, yeah, it's a DOT
He
highway.
said it's highly unusual that anybody ever gets a permit to cut a road, a state road,
Yeah.
okay? They showed the special circumstances, and I'm not so sure he's the one who approved it, but it got approved, okay? They tried to drill that last year, if I'm correct, it did not work, okay? I don't know why it didn't work.
They had it drilled, he pulled his drill out and the road collapsed before he pulled the pipe through.
Okay,
So it was a mess from day one.
okay. And we did pay, I believe, around $5,000 to reconstruct the shoulder of that road.
We had no choice.
We had no choice, it was a safety issue.
Unfortunately, I mean, I really wanted to continue, I mean, spend that 5,000 towards finishing that part of the project, but
We couldn't go all winter and leave that shoulder.
I know, I just, you know, you hate spending it's a temporary fix, but, you know, 5,000 is still a
Could have
lot of
fixed
money.
3 or 4 or 5 lawns with that.
Yeah. But, you know, it had to be done.
So I do have a motion on the floor, and I do have a motion and a second. Is there any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried, thank you. Piles all over there. I got your dogs control report for the month. You already acted on the health insurance, right?
No,
You didn't act on that?
no.
Oh, we talked about it. Okay. I guess we talked about that before being opened. I would like a motion to approve, effective the first of the year, 2018, all non-union employees
As it was
I
explained to
should
me.
say all new,
New.
all new.
Yeah,
All new, right.
Legally. Effective first of the year, all new non-union bargaining employees will contribute 20% of their health insurance premium. Okay, does everybody understand?
That means people working here right now and we're not affected.
Correct. The grandfathered in, this only includes new non-union employees. which would be 4 or 5. The union allows us to buy into their health insurance for non-union people, and this is what it's all about. If they did not allow that, we'd have to go another route too. And it is a very, very good insurance. I think Mickey probably,
Yeah,
you haven't used it much, I don't believe. And it works well, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So the only change here, we've got to put the word new in there, okay, Julie? Can I have a motion to that?
I make a motion to accept the effective 1/1/2018 that all new non-union bargaining employees will contribute 20% of their health insurance premium.
Thank you,
Second.
thank you. Any questions? All those in favor?
All right,
Opposed? Carried. I've got 2 sets of bills, but I don't want to pay them once. You got your post audit bills, and you also have your monthly bills. You have no other monthly bill? Oh, yes, you do. Yes.
Lakeview locksmith to fix the door in the front was $229.50.
that was for tonight.
Yeah.
That's what,
You got it just under the weather.
yeah. It was
At 4 o'clock this afternoon, a little after 4 o'clock, we had a lot of problems with this door. We didn't know it would make the day. As far as there was nothing to hold it back from closing real fast. And
Well, the amazing part was there's signs on the door, hold the door. While I'm sitting in his office, all I heard was that thing banging because the door closer was broken. So it would just slam shut, and it's like, there's signs. I went out to look, there's 2 signs on each side, hold the door when you close it. So we are lucky we didn't use the door.
There's a lock and phone is the other one.
We ended up doing that, the town, but
That's emergency only?
it's not,
Anyways,
it's not a good door. It's really bad.
you have the monthly bills, and Julie just added one on.
I have 2, which we.
I have a question about the John Triller with the advancement or training. So what is the additional cost in addition to that advancement? So is this a one-time? What is that?
Approximately where are you on this?
I'm about a third of the way down on the front page.
I have 2 lists here, which one are we working with?
Are we looking at the voucher edit
Yes.
list by voucher?
Okay.
I'm looking at this one here, where the first one is the Champlain Ace Hardware.
Okay.
We advance money to people if they want it before they go to training,
Okay,
or if they put it on their own credit card, for instance, we reimburse them, okay?
okay.
I do not know where this training is. It's probably Albany.
And they have, even though we approved 290, he has to bring receipts, and if he only spent 200, he has to reimburse the town the $90.
Yeah, that's a requirement of the job.
I just wondered if there was additional cost up and above this advancement of that 297. That's all I'm asking. I wasn't sure.
I understand the question, I really do. We really have no choice as far as wherever the training happens to be, we have to send them,
Right.
because they have to keep up their training certifications.
Does it move each year from one location to the other?
I do not
to
know
another?
that, truthfully, I can answer that question. This is what we're doing for Mickey here. He has to go once a year to keep his certification up. He does water as well as zoning and planning, am I correct? So you got more than one training a year.
Yeah, I'll have a water school this year in May I have to go to.
And that's close by sometimes, though?
It's in Verona this year.
Verona, down near Utica. That's a long haul. But then again, we have no choices, you know?
Right.
We have to keep our employees certified. Any other questions? Any other?
I have several.
So,
There are several items in here that are listed on the left column where it says water administration.
Whereabouts are you on?
I'm going down about,
Second page?
well, the one that's Champlain Telephone Company. Water administration. Go down to Endine.
Endine is,
Water administration. Right
Endine is,
below that, there's another one for almost $3,000 for legal services,
Yeah.
water administration. And then down, right near the bottom, payable to New York State Gas, Electric and Gas, Water Administration. The next page, payable to wireless, is another item for water administration. the payable to Village of Champlain Water Administration. And that's all I found. My question is, where does the money come from that pays these bills? Does
Okay.
it come out of revenue from sales of water? I know it
First of all,
cannot come,
Some of it does.
but where does all of the water, where does all the money come from that pays for those costs?
Well, like the legal is Matt's working on, like the bonding,
Yes,
and,
that,
and,
Is this charged to the water project? In which
yeah, it's
case-
got, yes, that's charged.
any
to the
work
water
that he
project.
does for our water system,
Correct,
with the bonding company and all that stuff, his hourly charge for that
all right.
is charged to the project. So we get reimbursed.
But a lot of these other ones, they're very small items.
Um,
There's a water administration
Those would
money,
come out of your water rates, their electric bills for the pumps, the testing.
and then what it's for. Where does the money come from? Is
Water
it
rates.
Is it coming from the small revenue that the town is
Yes.
earning
Yes.
because of the water they sell to the residents?
yes.
Yes,
For
But it's,
instance,
so it's not coming from EDU money?
no,
no.
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 Okay,
Like, for instance, the booster station that we have on the Ridge Road,
right.
it has electric,
Electric and gas.
we got gas in
There's
there.
phone in there, well, there's a phone in there, I don't know if we're getting billed for that or not, because it doesn't work.
Payphone?
Okay,
It don't work.
Okay.
yeah, okay. Now, I assume that even on the pumping station on Duval's Road, we have electric there,
Electric, yeah,
we have electric there, and that would be on the sewer side,
yeah,
am I correct?
You got that out?
Pardon?
yeah,
Yeah, it was frozen up recently.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Did that
Service
pretty much
tax
answer your
on-
questions?
Didn't come in yet,
Didn't-
he called me the other day.
Okay. Did I have a motion to approve the bills? No.
I just, Clark, did you, are you?
Yes, I'm fine.
I'll
I'll
second.
make a motion that we approve the bill list.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any other questions on the bills? Including the one that they read off to us? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried.
Those are these.
Pardon? Yes.
Okay, we have Water District number 6 disbursement approval of 42. Statewide, 29,500. LH LaPlante, 5,504.42. Luck Brothers, $248,118.89. Village of Champlain, $10,431.95. LH LaPlante, number 9, $1,034.07. And Bernier Car, $27,430.68.
As far as the $10,000 one to the village, that's where they swapped out meters, put all new digital meters in, whatever they are, on the Ridge Road and those places. There were several of them, a lot of them, let's put it that way. And that's going back way till September, October, some of those, okay? And that now comes out of the project,
Yeah. Whatever.
okay? Luck Brothers, I believe that was a final completion, they held back, what, 5–10% of the contract?
That's what that is, the retainage?
Retainage, that's the word I was looking for, okay?
Okay.
Okay. I did get an email from Bernie and Claire that they had sent that 20-page document to Matt Favreau to get approval of approving the final bill and that it was all up to code, things were up to stuff. So that, 200-some thousand is that, to my knowledge, that's that retainage. And that sounds about right on $2 million, right,
Yeah.
whatever it was. Okay. I'd like a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve the water district disbursement approval
Okay.
number 4, please.
Thank you. All in favor?
I'll second that.
Oh, second, okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Good. Rick, this is something you haven't done with us before, but we'll have to sign off on these.
Yep.
Right at the bottom down there, I believe.
Yep.
Okay. What else you got for us, Julie?
Salt shed pavement application, Bernier Car for $4,263.
We're on camera, so I can't say nothing.
There's a nice salt shed, Mike.
It's amazing. Well, as far as the salt shed goes, the grant that we have, we've gotten some of that grant. We've done $125,000, we're due $375,000 more, plus some item member money. And that's due, our bond is due, I believe, in July, so that all has to be settled out by then, we hope, okay? Not Corey, but Casey Dickinson, I believe, is the one handling that from Bernie and Carr, the engineers. They tell us the paperwork is all in with the state. That's a DEC grant, correct, for salt shed, okay? That's nothing to do with EFC, okay? I would like a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Second, thank you. Any questions, concerns? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's also carried.
Sewer project disbursement approval number 4, Bernier and Carr, for $33,664.26.
Actually, Mickey, it comes up to, from what I'm gathering, from what I've learned, engineering fees are close to 20% of the total projects.
Thought it was gonna be 10.
I agree with you, but I don't know what I can do about it. Okay? I would like a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion.
Thank
I'll
you.
second that.
Thank you. Any questions? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried, thank you.
That's it.
That's it for Julie? I have nothing else. Do you want to mention anything about the youth commission, or other than
Well-
we're working to upgrade the Paris Mills Park?
Yes, and put in a soccer, and at least one soccer field and a ball field. And I will be talking to the county youth commission on their specs, but when we put the playground in, I did follow the federal guidelines for playgrounds, and they were put in according to them.
Right. No, I'm just saying, before you do the backstop,
No, well-
I would just check on it, just to be sure, because I know that there are
Well-
some specific requirements for these rec parks and stuff.
Well, the plans I got it right off the internet from a company that puts them up. So, a playground company that puts up backstops, and they were happy enough to give me the exact specs of what they use, so the dimensions would be exactly the same. And they use the chain link fencing still, and so it looked pretty good. They gave me the plans are right there on the internet, and I can double check on whether poles are good enough. But worst comes to worst, we can always use metal poles. I mean,
Whatever,
if we may end up saving the money from the rec program in Rouse's Point, because they want us to pay for that, so they could easily cover the extra expense. And the soccer fields,
Well, the youth commission that you made reference to, a couple of years ago, I met a woman involved in that program. In fact, I worked for the county, going around and giving workshops on the kids who were going to referee, and found out, looking at their literature, that they have specific dimensions for the 3 different levels of soccer that they were
and that's in here, the letter.
And I think that when you lay those fields out, there's a way of putting, like the big field, making it 120 by 75, which would be like a high school field, but then the smaller kids play crossways, and you get 2 fields out of it, and you use some of the lines that are already there. So you get 2 fields going this way for little kids, and then if you want a big field, you go the other way. But the space they have up there is very adequate for that, and just one's close upon the other. And to line the field off is not that expensive. What it would cost for goals, you'd have to look
Yeah,
that
but
up.
that would be the major,
Right.
one and only major expense.
Right. It's a nice wide open area. Have you seen that, the field?
Paris Mills?
Paris Mills,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
I went up there.
It is, it's a
Yeah.
good, wide open field, you can use it for anything.
Good turf.
And they talked about basketball
The
programs.
town ultimately has to go in and mow it,
They do anyways.
Okay, great,
We
so
mow every week anyways.
Yeah, and I do
whatever
want
whatever goes in there, we should consider the effect it has upon the mower. If they have to start zigzagging around, then it becomes more labor intense.
yeah, we have, I mean, unfortunately, there are gonna be, we've got the storage shed up. Alan last year brought the storage shed up, so we've got a place to put the equipment.
Right.
And he's been very good, he and his crew, about filling in spots. They brought the sand in for the playground. Alan drilled the holes. The crew has been very good, the town highway crew and Alan have been very good about supporting the Perry's Mills Rec Park, and
Yeah,
I'm sure he's gonna continue to be that way.
right.
And keeping the mowing in mind, yeah.
Yeah.
So far, we've done that, but it is, the more you put in, the more it's like my house, I plant trees, I like
Yeah.
trees, but
You gotta go around with the lawnmower.
you gotta go around them. But that's,
Okay, I have nothing else.
I got a
Anybody else
couple,
have
I
anything
got a
to
couple
report?
of things, just to,
Actually, I forgot, yeah. Just want to make the board aware that we are cleaning the vault. And we've got to make room. And we went through the retention book, and there's a lot of stuff we can get rid of, so we've started shredding stuff. But we have to keep track of everything we're getting rid of, so we've got documentation of what we're getting rid of.
Okay, some stuff you almost gotta keep forever, some
Yes.
stuff you can get rid of. We did buy a new shredder, we badly needed one. Okay, thank you for that, Julie. Anybody else have anything? If not,
yes, I got a couple of items.
go ahead,
You're not too bad.
go ahead.
You're not painless.
Huh?
I had a conversation with Harry McManus yesterday. Harry, what's the total bill for the fitness trail? And he said the total would be around 21,000, of which a third to each of the municipalities. And he had, at that point, zeroed out to $7,617.
Our share?
Yes, and village, and Ross's Point Village. So that's what we're told right now. He had it run it by, I think, Al Rasco, in the final figures. I know that we have numerous fire hydrants that need to be adjusted, and as soon as Charlie sends those up here, hopefully we'll have all the parts and pieces to do that. And I know our budget for water is stretched, so I have a crazy idea that we try to contact the people who came over here last year who did some of that restoration. E.J. Prescott runs a school,
Yeah.
and they sent over a couple of trainees who were trained in that type of skill. And in a couple of days, they went around and did a lot of this stuff. Well, I understand that at no cost. Now, at the same time, I'm told that when they send trainees out, they have to pay for their transportation, their meals, their lodging, and there may be a cost to them. But given the fact that we bought a lot of stuff from them, maybe they would consider coming back and providing experience for their trainees.
Costs absolutely
I
nothing to
think
ask.
it would be worth a phone call or a letter to them, asking them of that possibility for this coming summer. Say, we have the equipment and that came from you, and if we may be lacking a few parts, we could buy them from you, and we might be able to get some labor expertise, really. I was told that maybe that requires supervision. I don't know how much
well, I
supervision
think
it requires.
they send somebody with them to
Well,
supervise the
that-
trainees,
okay.
because they're trained,
Okay.
they had somebody.
Yeah, Mike Joliker.
Yeah. But
Well, last
Mike
year was Mike Joliker.
Yeah.
But somebody was supervising.
But I think to go back to that same route, using Mike, might not be the best way to go. Maybe John Cooper, we talked about John is involved in doing something with the project right now.
Well, he has agreed to check the sewer pumps down on the Wallace Road when Mickey's had training, if I'm correct, okay?
Yeah, what type of?
I have no problem with that,
No, but I think E.J. Prescott might be the key to solving one of our problems,
okay?
maybe.
And E.J. Prescott provides the insurance to cover these trainees, so if something happens on the job.
I would assume not. So,
I believe so, because it's part of their training. It's on-the-job type training,
Right.
and they have, well, I don't wanna call them kids, but they're like in lieu of
Apprenticeship,
college.
Right.
You know, for trades and whatnot.
Yep.
So they're trained in the products that EJ Prescott sells, and they get hands-on training, and it benefits the company, and it benefits them, because now when they go out in the field, they know, they have experience.
So I have no problem with that as long as,
Yeah, I'm
again,
pretty sure the
EJ
company-
Prescott can show proof of, you know.
Yeah.
Normally, any contractor that we hire
Right.
has to show a certificate of liability insurance.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, yeah.
We just don't hire people without it
Right.
for the liability that.
I would think they have insurance
Correct.
because they came with hard hats and steel-toed shoes, and they were dressed for the part.
Okay.
There weren't sneakers and flip-flops here,
Yeah.
Okay.
so.
one last thing I wanted to bring up, and I want to find out the status of our ETU adjustments. I know we've got some work to do with that.
Yes.
Is that something that, I think we have to, as a board, approve that? Now, is there a list out that can be worked with, or no?
There is a tentative list from the committee, but I'd like each board member to review it first and then get
Okay.
the numbers together and vote on. Julie's sending out the EDUs next week, I believe,
Probably Friday.
probably Friday, so I
To the EDUs to the payers?
yeah,
For the first quarter payments.
for the first
The
quarter.
current list.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
current list. So
So-
we need to get this for her next.
If we wait, does that mean that if there are adjustments where there's gonna be a slight increase, which means more EDU money, by waiting, are we actually losing an opportunity to gather a few bucks?
We can't act fast enough for
The first
Julie's.
payment, right.
Right.
When's the next?
Next
In
quarter,
in
3
3
months.
months.
Okay,
But what we just need to do is each board member needs to look it over and decide, because it's an individual decision on how they feel, what they feel is fair and what they don't. There
Okay.
will be some discussion, I'm sure, over the totals.
well, I've been asking for one, I haven't been able to find any hard guidelines to do this. So it sounds like we're kind of working in the closet with the light off. And if we start massaging this, we better come up with some rationale of why his EDU goes from 1.5 to 2, and this guy's goes from 2.2 to 5. And make-
Some of them are easy because they were on the wrong lot and we're switching them to the right lot. Some of them may be because they increased their business size and they didn't get the extra EDU added on. So
Right.
a lot of them are going to be non-controversial,
Okay,
but there is a change in policy that we might have to really hash out first before it's presented fully to the board and the public.
all right,
So
okay.
we are moving forward on it, and we are going to hopefully gain, if the board agrees, gain some EDUs out of
Okay,
this.
all right. One last comment I want to make about the restoration plan. I have 2 lists of all the sites that need to be restored. And as soon as the snow's gone, I personally am going to start walking around and trying to develop some kind of a plan or a scheme for saying that this one's an A quality, we need to get that done first. If something's on a B list or a C list, then it's low on our list. And then ask somebody else to come out and look at it and get some kind of consensus, so then we can come up with the 10 worst ones we've got to go after first. So we have some kind of a target.
I understand that.
Does that make any sense?
It does.
Yeah.
But I was told by Eddie Adams,
Right?
of the 53, I believe there's roughly 53
I have
sites.
that list, yes.
Yes. There was several of those that were almost up to code, he thought. They
Okay.
didn't need a
So
lot
that
of work.
becomes on the bottom of the list.
Well,
Right.
yes. But if they happen to be right next to one that was a serious restoration,
Right?
and this one needs 3 wheelbarrows of topsoil, and we're right next door,
Take care of it.
take care of it, okay?
Right,
So
right.
it's gonna be a case-on-case, case-by-case
Right.
evaluation. And long-term, we need to somehow do them all. We can't somehow we gotta do them all.
Maybe eventually.
Yeah, well,
But if one of them is the pile of rocks down on Route 11,
Yes,
that's the one that we do when somebody says,
Yes.
hey, can I buy those rocks? Sure,
you can have for nothing.
have for nothing.
Click them and get them.
You know, they're far enough off the path, they're not causing any problems. We can call it North Country Sculpture if you want to for a while.
But there is several that don't need a lot of work.
Correct.
I would say probably half of them are not serious restoration, and some are pretty serious restorations, okay?
So get the 10 worst first.
We have approximately 10, we think, in the village. I understand the one on the old railroad track is one of the worst. You know what I'm talking about? Off Oak Street?
My source tells me the village does not have a lot of bad ones,
Okay,
so I'll find out
okay.
as soon as the snow's gone.
But either way,
I don't think there's a big issue
I am
there.
confident that restorations will be taken care of,
Right,
and as a timely manner as we can possibly do it,
right.
okay?
With the dollars that are,
With the dollars that are available, I'm still confident that we can do it.
okay,
Are you gonna do the restorations before you finish the connections, or
absolutely.
the connections are gonna come first?
All
They have to.
connections come first.
It has to.
the connections and the fire hydrants.
Okay.
So what's the process for the connections? Does this have to go out to bid for
Yes.
contractors, or?
Well, the ones we can do in-house, the homeowners and that, hopefully we won't have to go to bid, that we can,
Well, I'm talking like Beeline and
well,
the
yeah,
big
that
ones.
would, yeah, that,
B-line's gonna have to be, there's,
Derringer's gonna have to be, you gotta cross the road there.
you gotta cross the road there?
Yeah, you got the office on one side, the warehouse on the other side.
So how big of a
That's
pipe?
all rock underneath there.
That'd be a small pipe, I would assume. It would be an 8-inch or
No, it'd be an inch line or something like that.
inch or two line, okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, we are committed to get everybody hooked up that we promised that would be hooked up.
yeah.
And we're also promising people that restorations will be done. We can actually thank the public, some of them have been very, very patient with us. Okay?
Snow's helpful, isn't it?
It is.
You wait till the mud comes.
Anything else? If not, I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
The bid opening for the sewer is February 20th or March 20th?
February.
February
22nd?
at
What it was?
10:30, at 10:30 here.
Are they potential water line people also? The sewer people? Are they in the neighborhood, maybe could do water line installation?
Either or.
We don't know who the contractor is successful,
Well-
but I do know that, I was told the other day, there's 4 or 5 local contractors, when I say county, that's interested in this project. It was sent out to many, many contractors, I was told.
So,
I think I asked for a motion to adjourn.
I think you-
Yes. I don't think, did we vote on it? No, I
No.
Wait a second.
don't need a second.
I will second that.
Thank you. Any questions? All those in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Carried, thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Bill.